Hey everyone, Dr. Frunkey here, coming at you with a new knife consult on the Real Steel Megalodon. This is an interesting offering from Chinese manufacturer Real Steel. A lot of people have asked me to do a review of this knife, and I'm very thankful to my buddy Taylor for having these available. Taylor is a buddy of mine. He lives here in my city, and we hang out and play with knives together, and these belong to him. He is convinced that these are the best value for about $200 on the market today because they offer M390 titanium and carbon fiber finish with a ceramic ball bearings. And so I wanted to get my hands on these and see exactly what he was talking about and see whether or not I agree with him, that these are the best value $200 folders on the market today. So what exactly are we looking at here? These are, again, the Megalodon, named after the prehistoric giant shark, of which the original blade shape was designed. I think this one came out later and it has more of the, I don't actually know what to call that, the different type of a grind, more of the Persian grind right there with the upswept tip and the swedge on top. So this was the original one, and that's how it got its name. So this blade that we're talking about actually comes in at a quite long 4 inches back to the handle here. You're getting about 3.8 or 3.9 inches of overall cutting length. The overall length is coming in at 8 3/4 inches, 8.75 right there. You've got about a 4.9 inch handle right there with an effective grip area of about 4.4 inches, 4.3 inches, somewhere right in there. These two knives are obviously kitted a little bit differently. One is in carbon fiber and one is in titanium. The blade stocks, the blade grinds are also different, but the blade stock is coming in at a very even 140 thousandths, and the handle thickness is exactly half an inch right there, off by maybe 1/1000th. So yeah, just about half an inch. That's a little bit thinner on the carbon fiber one, and the blade stock is a hair thinner on the carbon fiber one as well. So that's a bit interesting. Just a hair, though. It just seems like some minor processing differences right there. Let's bring out the scales or the scale and see what the weight differences are here. So the full titanium version right here is going to be coming in at 4.25 ounces. If we take a look on the inside of the scales, there is some significant internal milling on the show side right there. This carbon fiber one also has that same show side milling in the carbon fiber, but that entire scale brings it down to 3.56 ounces. So almost an entire ounce of weight is saved in the carbon fiber version. So let's go ahead and bring out another couple of knives for a size comparison. Here comes the Spyderco Paramilitary 2. I think that one is, I'm not going to bring out the Para 3 because they're bigger than the Para 2 right here. So that's a pretty good size right there. Now these, the Para 2 is going to be coming in somewhere around $120 to $200 depending on spec. These CPM M4 models came in in the 170s, 180s, something like that. So, you know, we're talking about value here. This has M4 steel, this has M390. I'll go ahead and bring out the ZT0801, another knife that some people may be familiar with. So you can see this is about a 3.5 inch blade right here, and the Megalodons are quite bigger. But the ZT coming in at about $200 to $240 depending on spec. You might have to debate. So these older ZTs are coming in at $200 right now, but this is S35VN in titanium. So, you know, again, I'm trying to evaluate whether or not the $207 price that I see on Blade HQ as of the filming of this video is actually a real budget finding right there. And you know, let's not forget other budget companies. This is an example of just one of their knives. This is We Knives. This is the new 811 right here. This knife is similar in overall profile. This one is more expensive, but let's not forget some of the offerings from some other Chinese companies. And now we have We Knives teaming up with Mastrop and doing things like this Falcon right here. So you get a sense of the size and sort of the actual marketplace for these knives. You realize that the value is there, but they may not be the highest value. So let's go ahead and take a look here and break these knives down anatomically. I actually prefer this version very much more because of this blade grind right here. This is a full flat grind version. I cannot help but think of my Shirogorov F3. Another 4-inch bladed knife right there. So if you want to get a Shirogorov, but you don't want to pay Shirogorov money, you could buy a Megalodon, because the Shirogorov is unbelievably smooth. Now, obviously, it has higher end materials. I just did that very aggressively. This will close very smoothly, but so will this knife once you overcome the detent. This knife closes incredibly smoothly. Both run on ball bearings. And so when you think of it that way, this is a $1,000 knife, this is a $200 knife. You are getting some serious value when you're coming to think about it that way. Milled internal titanium handles. You've got this M390 blade with the exact same blade profile, so you really are getting a bargain right there. Taking a look at the finish, it is a belt satin finish. It is not really perfectly done. It's nice looking, but it's definitely a user finish. This is not ultra uniform. It's okay in terms of the finishes that I've seen. It's about on par with what I see happening on the mass drop knives with WE. It's an okay finish, but it's clearly a mass-produced, like, let's get these things going and quickly kind of a finish. It's okay, but it's not perfect. The blade grind, though, is excellent. It's so thin behind the edge. This thing cuts really, really well. If you want a functional knife, you're going to get it in this. This finish is not for safekeeping. They've made it this way. It's a rough satin finish so that you use it. And use it you should, because this full flat grind version is absolutely spectacular. It performs just like a Shirogorov with its cutting performance. Now, these Chinese brands that label their knives as M390, and then, it's just kind of unclear. I really hope that they do. I haven't done any high-performance edge retention. I'd love to see someone like Cedric Ada get his hands on this and take it to the table for cutting. This one is done in a more of a Persian grind. This reminds me a whole lot of the ZT-0462. That one coming in at about $460, not $400, $260 with a 20 CV blade and also a red carbon fiber handle. So think about that. This is $207 for about $30 more. You get American made. You get carbon fiber, 20 CV. So Taylor, you have a point. You're saving some money. But, I'm not sure that these are the highest value folders for everyone on the market today. Moving back to the pivots here, these both run on ceramic ball bearings housed in Nylotron washers. Those are basically the black Teflon washers, and they're incredibly smooth. These are the same types of washers that are currently being used by the Grimsmo brothers, by Brad Southard, and by Craig Brown, who makes the servo. So, if it's good enough for these guys, for one of the best actions I've ever handled, and in what is currently the most expensive knife in my collection, it is a value to pick that up on a knife of this caliber and this price point. So that is a plus to the Megalodon right here. Also, the pivot itself is keyed or D'd on the inside so that it stays in place and doesn't freely rotate. You disassemble it from this side. I did a quick disassembly on this one myself. It took about 10 seconds and the knife was apart. You can easily clean it and then it snaps right back together. Everything pops right back on center and is very smooth again. It has a ceramic detent, and so the detent is nice and crisp. It's not going to come out of the handle. You get a nice crisp deployment. And the flipper tab has just the tiniest bit of jimping, but if you feel it, you feel like you get the traction, but it's not uncomfortable. So it just flips right out like that. Both of these knives have the same action, the same flipper. The blades are slightly different in terms of their grind, so the weight is a little bit differently distributed on the flips, but both of them incredibly snappy action and very, very nice on the retraction as well. Both of them very perfectly centered and very easily tunable if you want to change that. Now, let's talk about the lockup on both of these knives. They are excellent. They're coming in at about, I would say, 20%, 25%, maybe a little bit more on the titanium one over here. But both of them have steel lock bar inserts. Let's see if I can find that in there for you guys. Yeah, they have steel lock bar inserts, ceramic bearings. Very impressive to have all these features on a knife here. Moving back to the handles, this is a full titanium one. I'm not sure if I was able to show you well earlier, but it is internally milled significantly. Let's see if I can shine some light on that situation. There you go. You can see that. Both of them are, and so both of them are very light. So at $207, are these the best value folders on the market today? I would say probably. To get M390, those bearings, and these handles for that price point, you better take a look at these guys if you're looking for a high quality, high value folder. So thanks for watching, guys. Let me know what you think down in the comments below. Go ahead and click like and subscribe. And as always, guys, take care.